Team Secret just became the best team in the world, winning the Esports World Cup without dropping a single map. And that was off of the back of picking up a particular French player named Mowgli. And before they picked up Mowgli, they were an aggressive team that primarily spammed rushes, shields, and cheese as their main identity. So in a game as tactical as Siege, literally the chess of FPS games, people thought this might have been not so ideal. So when they made a roster change, they thought they might have gotten someone slow to balance them out. But they ended up picking up Mowgli, who might be the most aggressive player I've ever seen in my life, which enabled them to play even faster. It's the second map of the grand finals of EWC versus G2. Team Secret are in Clubhouse attacking the basement bomb site on the very first round. Now, I'm sure many of you from playing Rank are familiar with how this site goes. Team Secret have taken the map and there's two executes that they can choose to go for. This first execute is dropping the kitchen hatch and planting the bomb in the B site. The other entails opening up the moto hatch, opening up the church wall, and then planting the bomb in A site. And so Team Secret, opening up this church wall now, have decided to go for the church execute, the A site execute like I just showed you before. Now the issue with this church execute is that the enemies still have blue control. Now despite the fact that the church wall is now opened by Secret, having blue control from G2 allows you to play a position that can deny both the moto entry and the church wall entry. And it's the connectors between sites. So despite the fact that if you have a guy bottom main cutting off this rotate through the hallway, you can still hold angles around church, get into blue, and still deny the church push. Now that is where Mowgli's operator comes into play. He is playing Capital. And what Capital did do, and you see him playing on the blue hatch for a briefly moment, is he can shoot fires at the player behind the generator. I'm using Tachanka to demonstrate, but you get my point, making it impossible to play and peek these two blue holes and deny the church push. And he times this off of Thermite getting the wall open, which now makes it possible for the execute to go through for Team Secret. And you see right now, it's very successful with the entry by Adrian directly on the stomp and getting the first kill. But there's a slight problem though for Team Secret. One, there's a Goyo on the door for the moto. And two, G2 have a zombie. Because G2 have a zombie, they are not able to make a wall on this church table, meaning they don't necessarily need to play inside of blue to have an angle and be able to play safely in church and deny both the entries by himself. Now, Team Secret banked on this Capital fire to be able to basically force execute for them, but Doki does a great job of saving his Azami utility for making this a zombie wall, and Team Secret's execute is kind of fucked because only Mowgli is over there on the blue side of the map, and he's going to push it solo into a crossfire, and it's not going to look good for him, right? Because everyone on G2 probably has some sort of crossfire to watch Mowgli walk down this kill box by himself. Well, sadly for G2, it was Mowgli that was the one solo guy taking blue.
Doesn't seem to matter as the fire goes out on sight and Secret are finding all of the kills. Mowgli's turned it on. Oh my god! Mowgli! Mowgli! What a 4K is that?
Mowgli by himself kills the player in blue, runs through, kills the guy behind church as zombies. And as if that wasn't enough, that was literally enough to win the round. Like, if Mowgli got traded here, that was fine. No, he one taps the guy, oh, two taps, I guess. The guy playing on K9 kills the other guy in church by himself, sprints through blue, and completely mauls and obliterates everyone playing on G2. And that's only the first of many times Mowgli's aggression, literally being the freak of nature he is, would win Secret rounds by himself. It's match point for Secret on the same gun to close out map 2 against G2. Team Secret are doing something called a cache extension on the gym bomb site. The reason you want to hold down cache, and you see right now, they're going to reinforce off the plat walls and reinforce off the cache walls. Well, now the reason why cache control is so strong, well, there's two windows that go directly into site outside the building, right, that into gym. The attackers are going to love these windows, but by holding down cache control, you actually get a long angle both onto the window hop-ins itself and also from the people sitting outside on the windows too. That's why you see players of Secret actually reinforcing the outside plat wall as well as the two inner cache walls in order to play over here on the cache of the map, doing a really hefty setup here. Now, because this map control is so incredibly powerful, attackers will commonly also go for a cache over clear, because guess what? You can't just play on the windows directly of sight if you don't take some sort of cache control. So Blaz opens up the plat wall, Alamau gets ready to take garage control, and D2 set up to clear across this roam over here. Now typically speaking, the cache setup has a player sitting inside in the cache position, as well as a player top red, because if you're playing inside of cache itself, well then their weakness is a guy coming up red stairs, so let's have a guy playing on red stairs too, and you guys kind of have a crossfire along with the guy in con through these holes onto the general part of that map. Now G2 have all their chips on clearing out this cache room. They want to kill this guy bad. How do you know this? Well, because everyone on their team is there. They have Grims shooting into over the wall onto the player in cache. And not only that, they have Loira underneath as Deimos getting ready to track the player and shoot him from underneath. They are literally sending every single body at this player. Deimos track comes out onto Fenrir, and the ace charge, you'll see an ace charge get thrown on this cache wall. And luckily for Team Secret, they do have a roamer come underneath and kill the Deimos. But now we're kind of in a position where, typically speaking, despite the fact that Deimos is dead, there are still 4 people over here. Grimm's going off, Lion's going off, and eventually, with just one EMP or nade through the drone hole to get the mute jammer, this wall between Cash and CC will get opened. And you can see with this wall open now, it's kind of impossible to play in here, and this red player and this player will eventually die. Most defenders in this scenario always play to layer. This is always the idea. You waste time, you shoot drones here. By the time the attackers get this wall open, you fall off. You fall off to play construction. You fall off to play in logistics. You fall off to play all the way back in sight. You've done your job. You've wasted your time on the roam and gotten a pick, a 5v4. There's nothing left to play here anymore. The attackers will waste a lot more of the time getting through the rest of the round. They still have to hard breach Jacuzzi, so they have to get on the highway windows, and they still have to clear out the rest of logistics and construction to make this work. You have Azami, so you can put the Azami barricades in construction to make it work. But Mowgli doesn't choose to fall off. Mowgli is the craziest player in the world. Adrian hops out, CC window. Mowgli pushes it with a shotgun. Mowgli gets 1. Mowgli gets 2. Mowgli gets 3. And he fucking closes out Clubhouse. The insanity in this scenario, where they have a 5v4 on a roam layer that they've already succeeded at completely clearing up. The red player can go down red and come up main stairs. The insanity for him to just walk out. Look at all of G2. They were not ready. They literally, this Ace had zero fucking hint of an idea that Mowgli was going to do that. Because they didn't expect it. That's the most insane thing you possibly could have done. There was no need for them to do anything other than play that layer, waste some time, get the fuck out, and just win the round straight up. But Mowgli fucking swings out right there. Shifting gears to a different game they played at EWC, this is the group stage game Secret played against W7M, a top 3 Brazilian team, which at the time, until now, but before the conclusion of the event, Brazil was the best region in the world. W7M are defending reading, and you see right now they're playing top floor extremely aggressively. Now, why do you want to hold top floor so hard on reading? Well, because all of the floor above the reading site itself is soft. So by having Cocktail control, the attackers will never be able to get into Cocktail and actually into reading itself and actually plant the bomb. And because you have people above protecting you from the reading walk, you can also have people in reading, which allows you to deny all of the other site as well, fireplace, just from playing inside of reading. Now, W7M are known for their aggression. They won a world championship. They won the Montreal Major versus Shaiko and them because they literally would not stop contesting everything. And you can see that right now very clearly. They want to hold top four. They're not only playing Cocktail side, that layer, they have a Clash playing inside a shop. They want to hold down this top floor for an insane amount of time. Unfortunately for them, Volps goes down on the pixel position, and that forces the Clash to fall off a little bit early from the shop position, allowing Secret to take a lot of space off of that. Mowgli is on the gridlock, and the Clash knows she's in danger now, so she's going to move away from that. Loban actually manages to get a kill on the south rappel by running out Freezer door, and now the Clash has to fall back. The bodies have evened out. Good trades to start off the round, and the round basically reaches a stalemate where Clash goes into Freezer to kind of be a shield with holes facing into Piano, as you saw earlier on the Freezer walls, denying the Piano push, and also a player inside Cocktail and a player on white stairs. A quick look at this aerial view of the crossfire. If you have a player in Freezer, a player here, a player white stairs, then you basically have a two-way crossfire on the top floor over here, a two-way crossfire on the bathroom Freezer, and this is one of the most common positions. Usually as an attacker, you wait you wait for util like nades or something to be dumped into cocktail before going, because you're walking into a clash and a player playing the long angle all the way from cocktail. That is, unless you're Mowgli, which he goes for the 50-50 gunfight onto the player in cocktail. And now the round opens up a little bit for Team Secret and the attackers, because now Mowgli can go around to push into cocktail, right? So he's going to throw attract stingers at the White Hall to deny people from walking through and retaking cocktail so that he can entry into cocktail sap. But the thing is, W7M still have a clash inside of freezer, and this is a very hard position to clear. And because of that, they know that, and they don't want to give up top 4. We know how aggressive a team they are, so they're going to send multiple people running up the white stairs to try to help this clash. Because there's a clash in deep freezer, Team Secret are in a dilemma where if they want to walk people at the clash, they risk exposing themselves to the players coming up white stairs, which completely hold the cross to the clash. But this motherfucker Mowgli, does he go for the clash? Does he go for the players at white stairs? No, he doesn't do all of that. Watch Mowgli here. He drops laundry hatch. He pops laundry hatch and drops laundry hatch, and then runs up white stairs behind them. Gets 1, gets 2, and now the clash dies. That is the most insane play you could possibly make in this moment. I'm so pissed because the Esports World Cup did not release match replays for us to be able to witness this play, because this is one of the most creative plays I've seen of all time. You literally see him dropping down the laundry hatch. And in the next frame, you see the players running into the exact predicament I'm talking about before, where they're wanting to swing this clash double swing, but the players on white stairs have already come up to help, and they have now fucking over our guy trying to get to this clash. They can't clear out the next objective. And you see Mowgli's maniac French ass walking up the white stairs from behind them, because instead of helping his teammates clear out this clash, he dropped down the fucking laundry hatch, basically into sight, killing both the players on white stairs and winning them the round. I mean, who in their right minds has a clash stuck in the freezer? And you know what? I'm gonna open the laundry hatch that goes into sight, by the way, like it's between the two bomb sites where you expect everyone to be. But because you have a read on the white stairs player, walks up white stairs, 1, 2, flanks them from behind. Brilliant fucking round. Now, I wanted to make a video on Mowgli a while back, so I had the first 2 examples in mind, but this guy's post, number 1, helped me title the video. Thank you for the title, Axel Voster. But also, this is a beautiful essay and gave this brilliant example to me. So shout out this guy on Reddit for basically making this video happen. That guy loves the game. Yeah, I fuck with that. Yeah, I know. That's a good essay. That's one of the rare good essays I've seen on this shit. The transition to this next clip was supposed to be, oh, well, they didn't have match replay for this game's AWC, but you know what they did have match replay for? The regular season of Pro League, except I can't put the fucking match replay files in the fucking goddamn thing because the game updated, and you can't look at match replays of older versions. Okay, anyways, G2 versus Secret, again, I was supposed to be match replay, supposed to be quirky, but this was during the regular season of Pro League, and this was on Chalet. Now, G2 are holding top 4 on a kitchen bomb site because, you know, kitchen bomb site has soft floor, but they're doing a super aggressive top 4 hold because look at this shield right here. What does this shield entail? Why is it in the middle of Ivy Hall? It's in the middle of Ivy Hall because what it does is if you make feet holes all across library, you basically make a library a kill box. Not even having to extend bodies that far from the vertical spots of the site, you make library almost impossible to entry. Imagine being an attacker and fighting this shit. This shit looks impossible, right? How the fuck, like, you walk in a library, how the fuck do you even win against this? Not to mention, there's holes on office wall also fighting the same thing. But what G2 don't know is that Mowgli is the one motherfucker attacking the library side by himself. The rest of Secret are doing a solar clear. Look at their bodies. Hibana is on the solar rappel. Noah is on big window rappel. Mowgli is a singular dude on library side, playing against a full aggressive library death box where there are multiple people over there holding a death box shield angle, double angle, and another guy on blue stairs against library. Well, the thing is about Mowgli is he's really good at finding gaps, and off his drones, off his info, he hops into the kill hole setup and obliterates 2 people opening up the round and allowing Team Secret to gain ground and push their entries through into top floor, eventually winning them the round off the back of Mowgli's aggressive play. I wish I could have showed that from Mowgli's POV, and we could have seen any of the kills, but I mean, match replay doesn't work on all their builds, man. That's my fault. I should have fucking recorded it when I saw it, because I should have made a video like back then, The next round, they go master. They put the same shield down here. They have the same holes over here library side. And this time, they're ready for Mowgli to come library side. They're like, okay, we're sick of it, you know? We're not going to let this guy walk into library into our full setup and call it a day. Alamal's holding the angle. Doki's underneath in library. Or sorry, in games. And if you don't know what games can do, you can hold the library window, hop in from games itself. A lot of Dominion oversight. Team Secret say, fuck that. We're not going to go for that. Noah walks in front door, gets a pick on that. Mowgli does hop in over here mud side, but they're like, you know what? They put that many bodies onto the library side of the map. I'm just going to hit sight. And so in the second round, Mowgli hops into sight. Blaz actually catches one of the players off guard, hitting sight, but here goes Mowgli. 1, 2, and once again off of his entry, they secure another round purely off of his aggressive entry. Now, the rest of this game was supposed to be me emphasizing how many times he entries library. Look, right here, same thing. Mowgli goes on striker again. He goes near the library balk again. He goes for another entry in with his team library side and dies. He does the same thing again next round. He does the same thing again this round. And then he does the same thing again this last round too. I wish I could have fucking showed that, but you know, I digress. No match replay, so I really can't show that, unfortunately. But that's just a little snippet of how Mowgli plays on attack. Despite the fact that he's entering the same spot almost every single round, damn near the same exact position, he's still forcing it over and over and over again. Maybe he's not as successful as the first two 2Ks he got, but he's opening up the rounds for his teammates. He's finding the gaps and using the drones to figure out the exact timing and going off his teammates' pressure that they can all 3, 2, 1 collapse together. But now you've seen how he plays on attack, but how does he play on defense? Well, let's look at their playoffs game versus G2. Now, I like Chalet as an example because Team Secret's the best team on Chalet, but unfortunately, all these games are against G2, man. That's when the best games and plays happen. Team Secret are defending the basement bomb site against G2. G2 have an operator lineup that is very indicative of a lobby take. The ram, the thermite, the glass, that is all for getting the front wall, smoking it off, planting the bomb, making vert above it, all that type of jazz. What G2 want to do is take into library to deny this player from playing top mezzanine and denying lobby, which from then, by taking library control, they can then take lobby control to take the connector hatch. And now that there's nobody on defense that can play this connector hatch, they can open the main wall and run a guy down the staircase and plant onto this shelf right here. And therefore, they go for a roam clear on this library side, with June being successful for Secret and getting a kill. But G2 end up victorious on the roam clear, taking all of library, killing both June and the other player on this library roam. Now, right here, despite the fact that Secret lost bodies, they still have a very good chance of winning the round because, one, they have Tuberau and Bandit, which are capable of keeping all the walls closed for an extended amount of time, wasting a bunch of time, and two, all three of the operators have C4s. They can simply play inside the site and play for C4s. They can peel off, play some staircase for a bit, shoot some drones, play some C4s. Despite the fact that the enemy's making vert all over them, they could get some picks back off the C4s and call it a day. The enemies can't get the backside walls open. They're going to struggle to get the frontside walls open. Overall, it still would be a semi-difficult round for G2 to execute on. But Mowgli, despite this, decides to go for an aggressive play. And not only does he decide to go for this rat play, even though he gets thrown down, he doesn't decide to fall back. He decides to go for a gunfight that in 99 scenarios out of 100, he is fucked. He's in an open hallway. Dokkaebi has cover. Dokkaebi jiggled out and saw him here. Dokkaebi is waiting for Mowgli to just run down the staircase because that's the correct thing to do. Which in the Mowgli in 99 scenarios, he's dead no matter what. But he doesn't do that. He sits here and he takes the fucking gunfight and he wins it against Stompin'. Now, despite that, that still makes him 1 HP. The C-Force fail for Team Secret, one of them, and Alamo gets a pick on the Adrian. Right now, it's a 1v2, or 3v2, sorry, with Mowgli on 1 HP. right? And not only is Mowgli on 1 HP, they get the connector hatch open. Thermite gets outside the main wall. It gets a main breach open. There's Ramver opening all across the main lobby, stopping people from running through sight into connector or anywhere in that time being to stop this plant from going down on this metal shelf or on this cabinet over here, because guess what? No one can be in that connector spot right there. There's almost nothing Team Secret can do at this point to stop this execute from going down, unless you have Mowgli on your team. And Mowgli decides to sit in the most aggressive gambling possible position in the world, which a simple drone, this guy's 1 HP, one drone would have caught this guy, would have gotten an easy kill on this guy. All you have to do is go into stock behind him and kill him. But unfortunately for G2, they don't expect anyone to be here, because why would someone be here? And he's also playing in the middle of the open of the staircase. You can make vert onto the staircase from top library stairs. You can see this guy from like half a mile away and just kill him for free. He's 1 HP. You can see him from the window outside of Snowbug. You can see him from the stock wall behind him. If you made that hole earlier, that most attackers actually end up making the cut off this staircase. But the drone misses him.
G2's case of sniffing out where the two players are. There's only two of them to deal with, but they can't find Mowgli. He could be a bit of an expert.
But the drone misses him from Alamo, and he pumps this guy, and he C4s a guy in the breach, and once again he has single-handedly, off of playing the most insane play possible, he has won his team the round. Now, one surprising thing about Mowgli, if you go to the Esports World Cup stats page and you group it by team, is that you'll actually notice if he's the most aggressive player, right, he must have a crazy entry stat. Right here, you see his entry kills, entry kills, entry deaths, and entry plus minus. He's actually 12 opening kills and 22 opening deaths. He actually has a pretty fucking abysmal entry stat. Which, if you really think about it, the playstyle he plays kind of goes for this, right? If you're making the crazy maniac plays all the time, they're not all going to work. In fact, they're mostly going to fail. And if you think of playing with ranked teammates or your friends, you usually think of the guy who would have stats like this being the idiot that runs in every round without comms and just dies by himself. And you would probably get really mad at a guy doing this. But this guy got picked up to a team and made his team go flawless and become the best team in the world off of his maniac plays. But if you watched him on average, though, in most games, because most examples I show you are him going crazy, most of them, a lot of other games, he's just dying or going negative. And it will probably look horrible to you guys. But when it does work, when he finds a gap, he always breaks the round open. And that's the point. It's because he chooses to drone and find the gap to break the round open. So does this mean that if you're the J Guns of your team that runs in by himself every round and just dies like a moron, that you're justifying what you're doing? Absolutely not. He's actively droning, he's actively communicating with his team, and most importantly, he is actively coordinating with his teammates. This round on Master versus Weibo Gaming at the Esports World Cup, he is playing with a solo C4 under Master site to deny any plants going down with a C4 underneath in case the enemy wants to get into sight and try to plant the bomb. But because of that reason, he has no setup downstairs. He is literally just a mute by himself playing inside of a kitchen, and because of that, Weibo want to go for a hunt play on him because it's an easy way, it's an easy free pick to get, right? This guy's playing by himself on the downstairs. And so they get multiple people, they get a Deimos track onto himself, and they get multiple people running at him. Now, Mowgli being the maniac he is, he's obviously going to get a kill onto the player clearing him out. But more importantly than not, he calls his teammates to help, because despite that, if Speakeasy is getting underneath him, if Deimos is tracking him, if there's a player on the trophy window, if there's players coming from short to collapse on him, he would be dead, right? There's very rarely a world where you come out on top where you're playing that many players unless they have the worst refrag in the world. But it's Pro League, and Weibo has good refrag. They're a top Asian pro team. But Mowgli communicates to his teammates. He's, yo, come help me. I need fucking help. I'm on an island alone downstairs and I want to fight this till I die. And therefore he gets his boy running down the solar stairs to help him. and Savage runs down, kills the player, you know, presumably kills, and Savage runs down, kills the player. Joom gets another one on the other side. Savage comes down solar stairs, kills the player in West Main, and then Joom gets his. He was probably playing game side on the other entry as well, because if you're woeing in first and dying every round by yourself with no way of your teammates helping you out on it, then it's never going to work. In an opposite kind of example against Weibo Gaming, Joom is playing by himself underneath Library on this same site. This is the other part of the solo roam that they play for this exact same site, except it's Joom by himself because, like I said earlier, from game side, from underneath Library, you can deny the Library hobbits for their cross clear. Weibo know this, so they're going to go for a kill onto Joom. This is a very isolation play, very easy kill for them because this guy's alone once again. He has no setup. There's nothing helping him out. But guess what? Mowgli's over there on the solo position. Savage is over here playing the top 4 control, but they're playing as a team on this aggression, right? And because of that, they're all rotating. Look at Savage. He's sprinting. He's sprinting. He's sprinting down blue stairs. Mowgli coming over from there. The blitz hops in on Joom, but it doesn't matter because guess what? Savage is already here. Joom should be fucked 100% of the time. He should be fucked. There should be no way he could possibly ever survive this situation. But Savage comes to help his rescue, helps out. Mowgli comes in the hallway. They're all playing together and playing as a team, and more often than not, you'll often notice that a good play made by yourself will never be as effective or good as a bad play made together as a team, because that's how Siege works. The more bodies thrown at once, the more refrag you have, and the more opportunities across the board. And you know, Weibo end up winning this round, and Mowgli might end up having negative 22 on entry deaths, but it doesn't matter because he's creating that opening for his team. Because despite how many entry deaths he has, despite how many losses he has, despite how many rounds they might lose, they'll do it over and over and over again as a team. The way he enters Library over and over despite the fact that there's setups against him, despite that, it says he's going off of his teammates' pressure that draws the eyes to the other side, or he'll draw the pressure and his teammates will collapse on the other side. But regardless, they'll all go at the same time as a team and crank together, and they'll commit to that game plan together. They'll hunt as a pack of wolves, like he said in my 1v1 podcast. You can check that out over here. Never put it up here. He's probably not going to do it, but oh well. They play as a pack, they hunt as a pack, they play as a team. The IGL like Savage and an aggressor like Mowgli and a wonderful coach like Twister, it is no wonder that they became the best team in the world. Random shout out at the end of the video to the guy that fixed my girlfriend's phone screen today. Basically what happened was he was like, yo, do you play Siege? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't say anything after that because I'm a moron, and then my girlfriend yelled at me for the rest of the day about it. So if you're that dude, shout out you, appreciate you, did a fantastic job. I just don't think it's that cool that I'm like a Siege YouTuber, but like I probably should have said something because I'm a moron. Shout out you. Alright, hope you enjoyed the lecture type videos. Time to play ranked and lose my mind.